Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Thanksgiving! Obviously today is not Thanksgiving, but it is tomorrow. So, happy early Thanksgiving. And I would just like to rant about Thanksgiving for a minute because I love Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I like it more than Christmas, and I personally think that Thanksgiving should last longer than just a day. You know how Christmas, there's one day of Christmas, but people spread the traditions out over an entire month. Like, there's Christmas Eve, and then there's December 1st, starts Advent, and you get like candy every day. I don't know. Well, not everyone does that. So there's like getting the Christmas tree and setting the Christmas tree up, and like the whole tradition of shaking the presents and trying to figure out what it is. There's Christmas movies, Christmas music, there's hot chocolate and snow and Christmas lights. There's a whole bunch of things that just kind of creates the atmosphere of Christmas lasting a month long. Why can't we do that for Thanksgiving also? Like, create an entire atmosphere around longer than just a day. Thanksgiving is awesome, okay? It has, it's in the middle of fall, which is amazing. I love fall, all the leaves and the rain, and it's so pretty outside, okay? People don't really even put up Thanksgiving decorations. They don't do Thanksgiving music. Why is that not a thing? No Thanksgiving movies. I don't necessarily really want these things. I'm actually not a huge fan of most Christmas music or most, every single Christmas movie. I don't like them. So I probably wouldn't like the Thanksgiving music and movies. We already have a Thanksgiving school week. Why can't we have just Thanksgiving the day last a whole week? I guess some people have multiple Thanksgivings. Just something I've been thinking about for the past week or so, and I think about every single time Thanksgiving comes. Thanksgiving is the greatest, and we take it for granted. Do you guys know how ironic that is? So, now that that rant is over, I'm going to talk about a book series that I think a lot of people are thankful for, that it exists in this world, because a lot of people like it, and that is Harry Potter. It's because everyone really appreciates the Harry Potter series, and Thanksgiving is tomorrow. I upload on Wednesdays. Why not create a video about it? I have 5 reasons here why I think Harry Potter will still be read in 100 years. And I actually looked up different articles. I figured it was a no-brainer. Of course people are still going to be reading this in 100 years. I typed the question into Google, and there were a lot of people who disagreed. And were like, oh no, Harry Potter will not be read in 100 years. Harry Potter is not a classic of our time. Okay, I understand that it's for children, but adults like it too. And all of the children who read Harry Potter have grown up and still like it. So, I don't see what the problem is. And they're passing it down to their children now. Why is this so hard to comprehend that they just won't keep passing it down? I don't know. I thought it was a no-brainer, and people, I guess, people who are all academic and, oh, Harry Potter is for children, are like this, and yep, okay. Here are my 5 reasons of why I think Harry Potter will still be read in 100 years. Reason number 1 is that Harry Potter redefined middle grade fiction. Lord of the Rings and the Chronicles of Narnia redefined fantasy as a genre. Before them, it was fairy tales were really the only fantasy stuff we had. Whimsical, childish things that usually came with a moral at the end of, don't do this and life will go well. So Lord of the Rings and the Chronicles of Narnia are proof that when expectations are changed for a genre, usually the series that changed their mind stays within the mind of everybody in society. Not everybody in society, obviously. I'm sure there are people who haven't heard of those series, at least one of those series. Harry Potter redefined the middle grade genre. I don't think that genre it did exist, but it was very elementary-ish, if that's a word, and childish. Harry Potter kind of took the themes and ideas that adults like to comprehend in their books and put them in a childish, whimsical world that children could enjoy. Harry Potter came along and kind of remade the entire middle grade fiction genre. It was there before, but it was like, there was the Warriors Cat series, there was the Magic Attic Club series. I'm only saying ones that I know from my library. There was the Mandy series, the American Girl series, and those were good. Even those are kind of more for elementary. There wasn't really a split genre between elementary and YA. Middle grade, Harry Potter kind of created that genre, so it's important in that aspect that it gave these middle grade readers something to read and something to learn and develop their love of reading that a lot of the time disappears. Because it redefined the whole genre, I really do think that that is one of the reasons it will still be around in 100 years. People tend to remember the game changers, so why not remember Harry Potter? Reason number 2 is because of the imagination surrounding the wizarding world and Harry Potter. No one can deny that this world was so thoroughly thought through, and you can almost believe that this world is real. Obviously it's not, and we know it's not, sadly. But it has an entire government system and school, and it has societal expectations that you learn throughout the series. And it's also like you start the story with Harry not knowing about the magic wizarding world. It's not like you just jump in and there's this random boy who already knows about it and you have to grab at straws and learn things as you go along. You're learning the things with him, and it's like blowing his mind, and at the same time it's blowing your mind, and it's amazing. And that's what a whole lot of children love about this series, just the imagination that they can see in this book and like relate to it, and like, oh my gosh, I want to live here, I want to be here, and I want to create my own stories here. So that's another reason why. Reason number 3, I think Harry Potter will still be read in 100 years, is because I think it's going to be a classic of our time. For this specific reason, I looked up different explanations of what exactly makes a classic, and there's no one definition for it, and there was even some debate of, do classics change over time? Like, our social values, does it change and mold the definition of classic over 100 years? I don't know. I'm not going to delve into that. All I want to do is just point out some of the things that other people pointed out makes a classic. There were some people who said that a classic is a book that you reread multiple times. There was some famous English professor guy. He's dead now, but he wrote a book about this topic, I think. And he said, a classic is a book that you never hear of someone reading. You always hear that someone is rereading it. Okay? Harry Potter fits under this category, okay? Everybody is rereading Harry Potter and passing it down to their children. That was another thing. It has to stand the test of time over 100 years and be able to prove that it was passed down through generation. Okay, 100 years has not gone by yet. Only like 22, I think, something like that. But it's already starting to be passed down. And the love for Harry Potter has not died. So I don't see why it would just stop. Okay. One of the other things that people said makes a classic is when you do reread it, you discover more things than you did the first time. Whether that's about the theme or just about the world. And I'm pretty sure that it does do this. I mean, I notice new things every time I read Harry Potter. I'm only in my third time, so I guess I've only reread it once completely, but I've noticed new things, and I have been noticing new things. People make theory videos about it every single time they reread it or rewatch it. Really, I think that all of these different things, okay, are things that readers decide. Obviously, readers decide if they're going to reread it. Readers decide if they're going to encourage their children to read it. Readers decide what they think about it. Yeah. They decide all these things. And really, you look at classics today, and they don't really have anything in common. Not all of them. There's like anything from the Odyssey to Pride and Prejudice, or from Sherlock Holmes to Macbeth, or Uncle Tom's Cabin to To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know. Just read those ones. They don't have much in common, aside from the fact that, I mean, some of them changed history, some of them changed people's point of view, some of them were just mere entertainment. Basically, though, all of these criterias that I found were solely based on the reader's decision. Like, okay, let's say me as an individual reader. I decide to reread something multiple times because I really like it. And I decide to get my children to read it, and I decide to encourage other people to read it, and I decide to get something out of it every single time. All things that meet the criteria to make something a classic. Is it my decision to make Tales of Goldstone Wood a classic? No, because like no one else on the face of this earth has read Tales of Goldstone Wood, so I don't think that is going to be a classic. Harry Potter, like, I guess a classic has to have a community of its own. And Harry Potter has that community that is very strong, and I don't think is going to die anytime soon. It's the reader that keeps a classic alive. Unless I think every single reader in the world dies or the entire world becomes illiterate, I'm pretty sure Harry Potter's going to keep on going. Fourth reason why I think Harry Potter is still going to be read in 100 years is because we've always been interested in magic. Magic is something I think our world has been drawn to since the very beginning, like magic in our stories, because, well, I mean, people like the idea of having the power to do certain things. People also like just the whimsical thought around it, and Harry Potter really instills that idea that magic can be whimsical. But that's another thing. Like, Harry Potter also instills the idea of black and white, good and evil, where there's magic and it can be used for good or it could be used for evil. I think in the last couple years, our stories have gone very gray and like what's wrong and what's right, and that's really good. But our world, I think, like, as people, we will always still come back to that foundation of black and white, good and evil, and like what that looks like. So Harry Potter really encourages that idea, and that's another reason why I think it will survive. We like the idea that good will always win, and that's why we've had it in our stories since fairy tales and on to the Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings. I think fantasy is really built around that idea. The fantasy genre is really built around that idea that there's good and evil and good always wins. The fifth reason why I think Harry Potter will still be read in 100 years is because it's something we all can relate to. Harry Potter is about growing up, which is something we all have to do. We all have to learn how to navigate friendships and crushes and deal with school and teachers and homework. Harry Potter has to figure out what kind of person he wants to be, and he has to figure out what good and evil are, and he has to define his morals. And there are a lot of things that happen to Harry Potter that I don't think many other people can relate to. But the central theme of a boy growing up between the ages of 11 and 17 are very relatable and one that we all go through. Those are all the reasons that I have for why I think Harry Potter will still be read in 100 years. I think it's going to be a classic of our time. It defined an entire generation. There's like the whole Harry Potter generation. The world expands outside of the book. There's movies, there's Pottermore, there's Fantastic Beasts. I don't know why anyone can see why it won't. If you don't think that it will, let me know in the comments and tell me why you don't think it will be a classic or why it won't be read in 100 years. I would love to find out. Also, I'll say happy Thanksgiving again. Go eat some turkey, I guess, unless you aren't in America. Then I guess it's just a normal Thursday for you. But for all of the Americans, happy Thanksgiving.